So being intentional, a practice culture develops in one or two ways, by design or by default. It is either by choice or by chance, by intention or by accident. Creating a more life-giving practice culture is within your own power, regardless of what's happening out there. Your team is likely looking to you to be the catalyst to help build and support social culture. So for me, we have medical assistants and nurses that work with us. So if I come in there with a negative attitude, that's gonna just be a domino effect, and that's how our day is gonna be. But if we go in there and say, hey team, we're gonna get this today, we're gonna have a good day, that'll start that negative turning into positive. So when we look to the stars, and this is something that anybody can do, nurses, physicians, you're going to emphasize the 6 qualities by which teams can experience high levels of well-being while together doing the important work of providing patient care. The first one is service, teamwork, attitude, reflection, renewal, and self-care. And I'll go over each of those. So with service to one another involves how we look out for each other in the process of our work, and how we recognize and uplift each other for that work. And regularly check in with each other to ask how things are going. Before you start your day, do you ask your staff, how are you doing? That should be the first thing. We don't go in and ask, hey, can you put this patient in? They may be crying, they may have lost a loved one. Look for opportunities to personally point out a job well done by individual members of your team. You may not have had your regular medical assistant that day, and so someone else may be coming in to help. Did you tell them thank you, job well done? That goes a long way. Next time your inmate's not there, they're not gonna be, I gotta work with Dr. Berry again, she's just gonna complain. Tell people thank you. Teamwork, that's the big one. Basically it takes a whole team to make you look good, right? Yeah, you could be the doctor, but you're not doing it all by yourself. Your medical assistant or your nurse is really the first person that patient is really going to interact after they check in. So if they're really doing good, it's going to make it better for yourself. How we connect with each other as co-workers and teammates. Do you guys buy lunches for them? Do you, can they come to you if something is not well? Ensure you are present when interacting with your team and not distracted by other concerns. My big thing is eye contact. If someone comes to you, you have to look them in the eye and let them know. You can't be looking at your phone, looking at Facebook. They're talking to you. Listen. Get to know your teammates and the joys and struggles they are experiencing. Those of us who have children or who don't have children or who have pets, listen to their stories. Because when you have something going on good in your life, you want everyone else to listen to you. The next one is attitude. Do you come to work just frowned up so no one comes and talks to you, or do we have a good attitude? Choosing to have a positive attitude, even in the midst of a great stress. Before I even go over that, my attitude wasn't good last week. Advocate decided in a snowstorm to not cancel our clinic. So I didn't go in there smiling. I wasn't a happy camper. But before I left, that frown turned into a smile because the 6 or 7 patients that showed up, they were very grateful. And we were able to leave at 12 o'clock, so we were okay. But I just didn't have a good attitude, before I started, so I had to clean up real good. So choosing to have a positive attitude, even in the midst of great stress, can help create a positive, encouraging environment for others and help advance the kind of practice culture we all want. It was very difficult working in the pandemic these past 2 years. We're one of the busiest sites in Olympia Fields, and we're one of the sites that never closed. You're talking about fatigue, tired, frustration. We did very good because we all had a good attitude and we had teamwork. Check your own attitude regularly and reflect on its impact on the team. And regularly look for opportunities to see challenges in a positive light and express this perspective. The next one is reflection. Reminds us that the work we do every day matters greatly, and that we have the incredible opportunity to positively affect numerous lives on a daily basis. No matter how stressful your day has gone, you could have had a few difficult patients, but at the end of the day, how many people said thank you? How many lives have you changed? Remind each other regularly of the mission of your practice. It's not about how much money you make. Why did we go into medicine? We went into medicine to help others. And the goal I usually tell my patients, every patient I see, we're gonna have you live till you're 100 years old. That's their goal. Remind each other regularly of the mission of your own practice and share stories about how this is being lived out. And then renewal, without recharging on a regular basis. So if you don't schedule time for yourself, how are you ever gonna be renewed? We risk depleting our own physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual reserves. If you don't take care of yourself, how are you ever going to take care of someone else? Schedule regular times of recognition and celebration with your team. Something else that I'm telling my team to do is if you can journal, I don't know how many people in here journal, that's something else you can do. Create rituals to encourage each other during the day. Perhaps something as simple as a high five or thank you. In our group, we just like to eat, so we try to, food is what makes us all happy there. And then self-care. As physicians, we talk to our patients daily about following healthy lifestyles, but we don't always follow our own advice. How many times do you go home and say, you know what, I'm tired, I'm done. And that goes Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday comes, oh yeah, let me work out. Model self-care in your own life by following recommended guidelines. Anyone that knows me and you're my patient, you're gonna run a race with me. So I don't have too many patients, and if you can't run, you're gonna get on Peloton. You don't have to have a Peloton tread or bike, you can have an app. So if you got a 5-pound weight, I'll get you to do some 10-minute exercises, some yoga. So I'm like the wrong one to come in and say, I don't have the time. The thing is, I had to make sure I made time for me in order to help someone else. And create a culture of health by talking about its importance with your group and sharing helpful articles or ideas. There's a lot of heart disease, we're getting more diabetes, we're getting a lot more sicker patients. And even the kids now are getting sick. So we start young, and they'll be better. And then taking the first step. To change the culture of your own practice, you and your colleagues must intentionally do something different than what you are doing now. So working for a big group like Advocate, they'll have a lot of different rules. You'll take those rules, but you still have to make it work for your own team. How do we want to be together? Do you want to have a lot of friction in your group? Do you want to have some laughter? Is it just going to be, everybody's just quiet, no one talks to each other? In addition to the STARS attributes, what other qualities do you think will help create a thriving practice culture? Do you need to have a party with the team once a month? What we do, we try to do baby showers. I know once a year we try to do an annual Christmas gathering, or every few months we may try to do something outside of medicine. Assess the current state of your practice culture and identify opportunities for improvement. So for us, our morale was very low during the whole pandemic. Now it's starting to get a little bit better, but it's up to the physicians. We have to be leaders in order to help everyone else. And so this is the STARS assessment. If you wanted a copy for your team, it basically helps you, if this is what you do, you can see if you're a good doc or a good nurse. If you talk about service, teamwork, attitude, reflections, renewal, and self-care. So everything that I just talked about, this is like a survey you can do for yourself to see, hey, am I really this type of boss, or, And then back to Monday morning, here we go. If the stars are aligned, your attitude will be quite different than it is now, and you won't look back. And then time management. I don't know how many of you are very good with time management. If, like I said earlier, if you schedule everything, imagine shutting your office door at the end of the day. How many of you all shut it down? Or how many of you all go home and do more tasks? Who goes home and do more tasks? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So one thing that I, thought about, either you get to work an hour early or you stay an hour later. And we have to learn to be okay. If we don't get everything done that day, it's going to be okay. Patients are going to survive. But are you going to start making errors staying up to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning? That's not good. And that's what a lot of us were doing, right? Yeah, you need to stop that. These shifts in practice can help you reclaim your time. And when I saw the suicide rate, other physicians, it really brought tears to my eyes. And we're burnt out, the joy is not there anymore. So basically this talk is how can we keep the joy of what we're doing still alive? And if you need to cut your hours in half, cut them in half and find better ways to document